What's going on, everybody? This is your NFL Mashup Week 12. So many shows, so many shows.com, so many mashups. Mike and Pete. Week 11, we don't care about, so we just kept it moving. Week 12, here we are. Mike, what's going on, brother?
Well, the Vikings didn't do that great today, but it didn't dampen my spirits. We still had a lot of good football today to watch.
Yeah, no one cares. We'll get there. We'll talk about your
Yes.
Vikings. We'll talk about my Jets. We'll get to our segments. But I want to add a new segment into the show, like I do every week, just because I do stupid shit. We're gonna call this head coach.
Head
So I'm
coach.
gonna put you in the mind of a head coach real quick and ask you a question because I was watching this game and the Cardinals were down three in overtime, and the Cardinals are 3-7. And they're playing the Jaguars. And they were driving down the field. They got to like their own 40. And I'm thinking to myself, there's like 3 minutes left in the game. So if they get stuck with like a 4th and 22, but they're in field goal range and you're down three, do you kick the field goal and take the tie in overtime? Or do you go for the touchdown no matter what and say, I'm either going to win or lose. I'm going to go for it. If you're the Cardinals at 3-7 right now.
Yeah, good question. I would, being a head coach, overtime games, an overtime game, try to take the 3 points and tie it up and go in overtime.
No. It's in overtime, the game.
Oh, it's in overtime. Sorry, I
And the
didn't hear that.
Jaguars scored first. So they were up by three. So the Cardinals could either kick the
Okay.
field goal and extend the game or score a touchdown and win the game.
Okay.
However, there's like 3 minutes left on the clock at this point. So I'm just thinking to myself, if it comes down to where if you have the ball, if you're the Cardinals head coach and your team has the ball on the 17-yard line of Jacksonville, say,
Okay.
and there's 30 seconds left in overtime, so there's no after. It's either going to be kick a field goal and tie the game, and it's probably going to end in a tie, and you're going to be 3-7-1,
Yep.
or go for the touchdown no matter what, and go for the win to get your fourth win or your eighth loss. So what do you do as a head coach?
Depending on the down and distance, I would say, if it's 4th and 5, I try to go, get the first down and try to get a touchdown. If it's longer than that, I just take the points and a tie is a tie. It's not a loss.
So you would take the tie and go 3-7-1.
Yes.
So obviously then if you were 6-4 as a team, you would do the same thing, or 8-2 as a team, you do the same thing. See me, I'm different. I don't feel like the Cardinals have a chance to make the playoffs, and they do. It's very slim. A tie is not going to get you there. So I feel
Hmm.
like at that point you have to go for the win. However, if you're 6-4 or 7-3, 8-2, you absolutely take the tie and try to just, your goal is to make the playoffs. And then
Yeah.
the playoffs is another season.
Yep.
So that's my new segment called Head Coach. We're going to back it up for a second. The Cowboys did defeat the Eagles 24-21 and probably the upset of the week. However, the
Yes.
Cowboys are 5-5-1, and right there. I mean, the Buccaneers are 6-4. The Cowboys are 5-5-1, and I feel like the Cowboys have had a very bad season. The Bucs have had a really good season. So I'm
Yeah.
confused with this NFL. There's certain teams that have a lot of wins that shouldn't be there. The Bears are rolling.
Yep.
But let's keep with our segments and go to why my team sucks. Vikings suck. Lost to the Packers pretty significantly. There was a lot of close games today. That was not one of them. 23-6. Did you even score a touchdown, or was that two field goals?
That was two long field goals, a 57 and a 59 yarder.
Now the Packers are known for their defense. Is that legit? Is it that the Vikings didn't play bad? They played like the Vikings. The Packers defense is just that good, and look out because here they come for the playoffs.
From what I saw, yes, the Packers defense is for real. They were all over in the backfield. The Vikings actually got a running game going, which was good, but then they were trying to run the ball when they should have been passing the ball to kind of get the ball downfield towards in the second half. So there was some issues there, but the Packers defense did look legit to me today. Micah Parsons got to JJ McCarthy, I think, twice today for sacks, which is good for him and good for his stats. But yeah, the Vikings had a few the late picks by JJ McCarthy. They weren't going to win the game. I don't think they would have won the game even if they weren't picked off.
Two
Um,
questions. One is, do you think it's time for quarterback change right now? Two, do you think it's time for a quarterback change at the end of the season, possibly?
I don't see a quarterback change now because the other quarterback on the depth chart right behind JJ McCarthy is Max Brosmer, who is an undrafted free agent signing. So I
Never
don't
even
see
heard of
them
him.
changing.
I
Yeah.
never even heard of this dude, so I agree with you.
The reason why the Vikings fans are claiming for him is because of the fact that he was a Minnesota Gopher last year. If he wasn't a Minnesota Gopher, I do not see that clamoring for him. Yeah. So if Max Brosmer, say, came from New Mexico State, university or college or something like that. I don't think the fans would be clamoring for him as much. I know they got they got like a third stringer. He's like on a practice squad quarterback, but I don't even think he's even had a career start or even thrown a ball in a game yet.
That's
So
interesting because the
yeah,
Vikings can still put it together and run the table. They're almost out, but they're not quite there yet. Packers, one of the only teams that actually covered the spread this week. We'll get into that in a second. The Jets are terrible. The backup quarterback play. The Ravens are better. Ravens are on like a 5-game winning streak after going 1-5. I believe they just tied for first place in that division, which is crazy to me. On top of that, the Bengals have Joe Burrow coming back, I think, on Thanksgiving, which is this week,
yep,
on a short week for them. So yeah, every team's in it. I mean, even at 3-8, they can go on a run. And this was a big game for the Bengals. They almost stole it. The Patriots didn't necessarily beat the Patriots are 10-2 and probably right now looked at as the best team in football with the Eagles losing. However, the Patriots did not play like the best team in football. They relied on a pick six and some key defensive plays and some Bengals mistakes. Chase wasn't playing today.
hmm
Higgins got hurt. It was just a lot against them. Flacco had one really bad look and a couple other bad ones. But yeah, another spread that didn't cover, but one. Let's just go up and down the board real quick, I guess would be the best thing. On Thursday, the Texans beat the Bills and won another upset, but other people were saying now it's not an upset because the Texans are 6-5, Bills are 7-4, but supposedly the Texans have the number one defense in football, which also tells me the next thing, which is that football's changed when the best defensive football is only 6-5.
yes,
The Falcons beat the Saints today, which I thought was kind of a shock considering they lost to the Panthers the week before, and whoever they lost to the week before, the Saints were looking good with their rookie quarterback. I figured, coming off a bye week, they would have a good chance. But no, the Falcons took care of business 24-10. So that to me was an upset, but not to many other people, considering the Falcons are 4-7, Saints are 2-9.
yep.
Jaguars 27-24 over the Cardinals. That's the game I was referring to. The Jaguars were losing that game for the most part, and the Jaguars are 7-4, but I feel like they're a small fry. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Yes, yes, definitely small fry. I think they've gotten lucky with a few of their wins this season, so we'll see what happens. I don't know who they play next yet, but haven't really looked ahead to next week's games yet. But curious to see if their luck will continue or if their pumpkin turn or if their what is it?
Carriage will turn into a pumpkin.
Carriage, they'll turn back into a pumpkin. Yes.
So while Mike finds his tongue, we're going to go into the next game, which I thought was an interesting game. So normally you're like, wow, this is the shit game on paper and it means nothing. However, I thought this was the most exciting game, entertaining game to me on paper because it was the Browns starting Sanders and the Myles Garrett story on top of that. They beat the Raiders 24-10. Sanders is like one of the first Browns rookie quarterbacks to ever win a game. Myles Garrett is a machine. He's going to break the single season sack record if he keeps doing what he's doing by like 3 or 4 sacks. Not even like tired or get about a half sack at the end where somebody's going to fall down. He's
Yeah.
going to have this thing wrapped up in 12 weeks. And I know you're thinking when the record was made, there's only 16 games in the season. However, guess what? He's going to do it way before that. So that's my call. He'll pass that record before those. So it's going to be a legit record. What do you think about Sanders and Myles Garrett? Any input?
I didn't see the game. I saw some of the highlights during halftime of the Vikings game. I didn't see much from it. I haven't watched a highlight reel from the game, so I'm hoping to kind of dive into that this upcoming week to see if there's something there or not. Was his completion percentage better than last week's?
I don't know. I just know he threw a
No.
touchdown and he won his first start ever, which was big news and sold a lot of tickets.
Yes.
Exciting stuff. And I was watching, like I said, multiple games on the red zone. I kind of don't really watch the Jets anymore because to me their season's kind of done and they have a lot of rebuilding to do. They're going to go after Archie, man. I feel so. We'll get there. The Giants were beating the Lions the whole game. They actually went by 3 in the fourth quarter late. And they had a 4th down for a chance to kick like a 22-yard field goal, and instead they went for it. They didn't get the touchdown. The Lions ended up tying the game, going to overtime, and then they scored a touchdown in overtime. So
Yep.
Giants
On the
Giants
first
are
play.
2-10. And a little tidbit: the Giants, with the loss, are now 2-10, and officially, mathematically, have been the first team to get eliminated from the playoffs this season. The only
Really? The
good news is
Jets
they
haven't
already
been allowed? The Jets haven't been
no,
eliminated
because the
yet?
Giants are in the NFC, and the fall off is different in the AFC than the NFC.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could actually have a worse record in the AFC and make it in the NFC, not so much, especially with the tiebreakers. The Giants are officially the first team eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh,
Even if
okay.
they get the first pick, they don't need a quarterback, so it doesn't really mess with the Jets. Seahawks squeezed by the Titans, who gave them a good game. Cam Ward seems to be getting better each week, but to me, that was just like, come on, you give them 13.5, you win by 6 on a late touchdown by the Titans just to make it interesting. You know, National Fixed League, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Chiefs versus Colts, which is probably the game of the day. It was exciting. I watched this most because this was the game they kept putting on the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs win 23-20 in overtime. Another exciting game. They actually had to come back at the end of that game. They were down for a good portion of that game.
Yep.
Are the Chiefs back, or are they just fighting for their lives and every game's a playoff game for them at this point?
I think every game's a playoff game for them. The win against the Colts today, if I remember correctly, if I remember seeing the stats correctly, it was Daniel Jones started off like 12 of 14, and then and then it went off the rails, and it was like 2 for 10 in like the second half or fourth quarter, and that's when you need to move the ball, especially against the Chiefs. They're going to find a way to come back. They're always going to try to fight to the last whistle. You know that. So I think it was kind of a little bit of both. The Chiefs are playing like like their heads are on fire because they can't afford any
Yeah.
losses, especially in that division. And the Colts probably just like, oh, we got this in the bag, and then they shit the bed. So
Now let's just go over the Bears real quick. 8-3, probably the worst 8-3 team in the history of the NFL. They beat the Steelers, who had a backup quarterback, 31-28, and that was a brawl.
Yep.
The Bears had to do their magic always, and they came through and they won. They win these close games. It's like six fourth quarter wins or whatever the case is. Bears are there. I don't see it. I'm sorry. Thanksgiving coming up. You said you don't do a turkey bowl, right? You guys don't play football on Thanksgiving.
No turkey bowl. Even when we lived in a house and had people come over, we never did football in the backyard or anything.
Yeah. I'm a used to play turkey bowl, not anymore. Now I'm going to eat the turkey bowl or
Yes.
turkey in the bowl. Yeah, that's that. Did we have any real injury updates today or no? I didn't really see
Well, you
much in
covered the
NFL.
two. I saw Alvin Kamara went out in their game with ankle injury, no, knee injury. So he didn't play in the second half of the game. So I don't know if that was. I didn't see any updates on if that was.
But there was a lot of backup
Mhm.
quarterbacks starting today. If you didn't look at the schedule, if you looked at the board, the way it played out, a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
backup
definitely.
quarterbacks. You had Tyrod Taylor, Sanders, the Brissett, Shroud. We had Mills,
Well, those
Winston.
are injuries that have been known for a couple weeks. CJ Stroud, I think that was his second or third game missed.
Yeah,
Same with Brissett playing for
the
Arizona.
Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals.
Arizona.
But yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
so interesting week. We're gonna try. I'm trying. I don't want to. I might have something. We might have something, me and Mike knows about it already, but we might have something very special for you guys next week. So either way, we will be here next weekend and posting something some at the end of the weekend with playoff predictions and playoff rankings that we didn't get to yet. But the reason why we delayed is because we have a special surprise we're trying to work on. So we'll hopefully get that going. Maybe a little help making our predictions. We'll see how things play out with people's schedules. But either way, me and Mike will be here. We might have a special guest. You got to tune in to check that out. Anything else, Mike, about
No,
this
I
week
think
that you wanted to go over?
those were my notes today. And just really quickly, the Giants' decision to not kick a field goal and go up by 6 at the end of the game. If I had my head coaching hat on, I was saying, kick the field goal, go up by 6, and then the Lions would have to go all the way down the field to score a touchdown to try to win even. So yeah, so
Always take the
bad.
points.
Yeah, always take the points.
Always take the points, people. So yeah, I guess that's it for so many shows, so many shows.com, so many mashups. This is the NFL mashup, week 12. Mike and Pete. We'll see you next week with something special. Later.
Have a good week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving Day games, everyone. See you next week.
Woohoo! Turkey bowls.
Turkey, turkey.
35 red, blue. Said I.